Hi friends, Suzanne here. Welcome to another paper pumpkin alternative video. This paper pumpkin is for the month of June 2021 and it was called The Adventure Begins. So the ink spot we got was Garden Green, and then this is the stamp set, and there were some really cool sentiments like let the adventure begin and the world awaits you. Dream big, aim high, let your light shine, explore. I really like these sentiments because they can be for any occasion. So in the paper pumpkin, you usually get sort of a preview of what the paper pumpkin is going to be for next month. And that was a really pretty ombre box. So as I open up the paper pumpkin, I realize that these card designs are absolutely stunning, and I feel sorry for anybody who put their paper pumpkin subscription on hold for this month, because man, these cards are beautiful just the way they are. There was actually no need for me to create alternatives because I'm sure that everybody would be able to make these cards and be super happy with them. They're gorgeous. So this first one, I'm just going to quickly show you how they go together because it's absolutely adorable. I love the design. So here is a little, I want to call it a tiny house, but it's like a little trailer that you would take camping, and it's kind of retro, which I love. It almost reminds me of that silver one, you know, the one I'm talking about. Everybody knows that one. Anyway, so here you just remove the little backing piece and then fold the card together, and look how gorgeous. Like, I don't know, these colors are right up my alley. I love these colors, and I just love the look of this. So the next one, I'm just going to quickly, again, so quick to put together, you guys. So if I really do feel sorry for those of you who, you know, canceled your paper pumpkin or chose not to do this month, because man alive, these are great. So that was simple. There's my second card put together. Of course, you need to throw a sentiment on it or something. Here's where the sentiment goes. You got another extra little blue tree. Look at those hills in the background with the little splotches. Oh, so nice. I think this one's my all-time favorite. And of course you embellish them with the stamp sets, and they do give you examples of what to do with the cards. So I'm going to try not to use too many of my cards because I want to put them together like they were originally intended. There's also really beautiful envelopes that goes with these, you guys. Like, awesome. I'm stoked. I think this is my most favorite paper pumpkin ever. I have to say I'm really excited with it. So you just sort of remove a little bit and you can add some stamping if you want. Look at that tree. Oh, the artists did really good job. My favorite. So those are the 3 card designs, plus you get some funky envelopes to go with them. Really nice. But since my job as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'm going to give you an alternative card, and here we go. So this is the one using the little trailer. So I'm cutting the card base. I'm going to slice off a little bit here, 2 inches. I'm going to cut, and I'm going to cut it down by, I think 5 to 5 inches. So I'm going to snip my little trailer out, my little tiny home. And oh, here I go. Yeah, I'm just going 2 inches by 5 inches. And then I have some Granny Apple Green cardstock that I'm going to mat it with. So it's just a little bit bigger. And I am using my favorite Seal Plus adhesive. And I ran out during the making of this video, and I started using the seal, which is not as, I'm not as familiar with it as I like the heavier duty one. Anyway, I struggled with it at the end. Anyway, I'm going to cut a little bit just off of the tire here because there was a little bit of a lip. And I'm sort of placing it where I think it would look good. And I brought out another color. So this is Night of Navy. So what I did was I inked up my stamp. And then with Garden Green. And then I felt like it was almost kind of a little too dark. So I wanted to stamp off and then add just a touch of the Night of Navy. So it's going to be an ombre, green on the bottom, light green on the bottom, going to dark blue. And of course, I know all of you people who hate the fussy cutting. You're like, why are you doing that? I like it. And when you don't have a die cut to place on your card, that's what you do. You fussy cut the words out. That's what we were taught to do before we could afford the Big Shot or the Stampin' Cut and Boss machine. So it worked out really well. If you don't like fussy cutting, then don't do it, but I like it. And I put dimensionals on the tree, and then I put 3 dimensionals on the little trailer, and then I know that it's going to fit nicely, and put a little bit of dry adhesive on the front part of the little trailer, and I tuck it right in there. So there's adhesive on one side and dimensionals on the other, so it's all the same level. Then I brought in a little strip of that Granny Apple green card, and then I put dry adhesive on I did put glue actually, I think. I can't remember. Hang on, wait. I think we used some Tombow. Yes, a little bit of Tombow glue, and then I put it on my little strip, and I've got Tombow glue on my index finger there, so I'm trying not to touch anything because it gets very sticky, you know. And then what I ended up doing was cutting just a little bit of the Stampin' Dimensionals, so I got a little thin line, and I'm adhering that right behind the green. And I just thought it added just a little extra. And of course, you know, if you do an alternative, you don't have to copy me, but there is some ideas, and I like to share with you some ideas. Maybe you have a little scraps, maybe you had your own idea, and then you have a little bit left over. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. And I did put some of the adhesive back sequins. Now, I have to say I've been going on about the adhesive back sequins that we have had in, I think it's called, I can't remember, but I love them, and I've been going on them about quite a bit. So I'm so happy that it was a part of this kit. All right, we're moving on now to alternative card number 2. And this one was, this is the cool envelope, you guys. Check it out. I loved it. So here I have my Excalibur. This is my actual sword. It's Excalibur. It's not very sharp, though. I wish I had a sharper one because it just didn't cut. It just sort of ripped. Excalibur, I have to sharpen you. I love it. Okay, so what I have here is I'm cutting down my envelope to 5 and 3. Let me think. I got to get out my ruler here and decide. I'm just cutting it slightly smaller than an actual card base. So it might be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I will measure because some of you like to know. Yeah, 5 exactly. I got the thing right. And then what I ended up doing was cutting off just enough of that green envelope flap. So it looks like it's 1 3/4 by 5 1/4. So it's just a strip, and it covers the white part of the envelope. It doesn't look bad. And here I'm going to apply this to my Whisper White. Oh, my, it's not Whisper White anymore. It's Basic White card base. And I'm adhering that and folding my card base. And then, so I'm going to use the whole of this envelope. If I'm going to sacrifice an envelope, I'm going to use the whole of the envelope. So here I put on one of my trees, and then I used one of the sentiment pieces from the kit. I also brought in my dauber, and I very softly daubed the edge of this sentiment piece. So basically it's something that adds just a little bit of color, and it will give some interest to that sentiment piece, because it's a little bit of a plain card right now, but just you wait. So I put 3 dimensionals on the pendented end, and then just dry adhesive on the flat end, and I'm tucking it under the tree so it actually looks like it's coming out of the tree. And here comes the second part of the card. So this was the envelope, the part that Excalibur cut out. So I made, let me think here. It is, the piece that I cut was 5 1/4. And then I had sort of like a 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch on either side. And then it just happened to make it so that there was about 1.5 inches. And and here is the supervisor of adhesive, Miss Molly, come to visit. Everybody says you want to see Molly. Here she is in all her glory. So you can see what I have here. I have a tab on the bottom that's about 1/4 inch, a tab on the top that's 1/4 inch, and then an equal fold on either side. So this, I'm using my Tombow glue, wet glue for this. And I just have to make sure that that crease in the middle of the page is also in the middle of my card base. I'm flipping down the glued ends, which there it goes. And then I have a pop-up mechanism. So I can create a design on the inside of the card. So say if somebody is going away, or they have purchased a tiny house, or they're going for a month-long, trek into the woods to avoid every single person on the planet and just live off the land, which sometimes, I think that might be cool. Anyway, especially if you're in Quebec or in the East, you know what I'm saying. All right. So now I have a little, I've put my little tiny house, or my little trailer there. And I've put some adhesive on it, and I'm going to stick some trees behind it. So I'm using that extra part of that, another part of one of the cards. And I wanted to make sure that, it's all the branches and things all fit. And as I did a test run here, the tall tree sadly was too tall. So I did have to adjust it a little bit. And I think if I did this card again, I would cut down that piece, the inside mechanism. I would cut it down to maybe 1 inch. So it would be 2 inches, and then 1/4 inch on either side. I hope you understand what I'm putting down there. Anyway, I would just make it so that I could put more decorations on it. Isn't that cute? It's like a little pop-up card. So it's a very simple mechanism. Anybody can do it. And I utilized the whole of that sacrificed envelope. So I used some Shimmery Crystal Effects, which I'm on the kick right now. Shimmery Crystal Effects is my new BFF. I'm not going to say it's my new Wink of Stella, but it is my new BFF. I wanted to make this tree kind of shiny. It was a little boring on this card front. I could have put some sequins. I chose not to. I think that if you're going to give a card, it doesn't have to be overdone. I put a paper clip there so that the Shimmery Crystal Effects would dry clear. But so there's the card. I really liked it. I think it's so cute. You can put a gift card in there, or maybe a gas card, or whatever they need. I quite like it. Okay, so card number 3. You guys, I almost thought I lost the footage on this one. I was almost crying because can anybody, when you look at these cards, did you not think shaker card? So that's what I'm doing here with this card. And I thought I lost the footage, and you know me and shaker cards, I love them. All right. So I have where I cut the trees out of from the previous card. So I have that circle, and I've put the beautiful mountains. So that's going to be the base of the shaker. I'm using a window sheet. So if you don't have a window sheet, I know if you have this paper pumpkin kit, you have a stamp set, and it does have a piece of plastic in it. So use that. If you have window sheet, which is just a piece of plastic, use that. I'm using my seal here. Struggled a little bit with this. It's really gummy. And I cut down my window sheet. I think it was just enough to cover the opening. Then I got my whoosh cloth because I saw a whole bunch of fingerprints on there, so I wanted to remove that. And then here comes my foam adhesive strips. So these are specially made for shaker cards. I love them. Stampin' Up! Does sell them. You will find them on the adhesive page in the annual catalog, but you can also look it up in the online store. They are called foam adhesive sheets. So I started off just putting one little line down, and then so these are double the height of a Stampin' Up! Dimensional. So if you have dimensionals, you could use the bones of the dimensionals and just double up. The nice thing is that this gives it height. So I'm going to use some of my a stash of sequins that I have, and I know that many of us have been crafting for years and years and years, and we probably have a collection of sequins. I know I do. And even though Stampin' Up! Doesn't sell a huge selection of sequins, I could recommend Studio Katya, which is a online sequin store, and she's out of Canada here. Also, I'm pretty sure that this set of sequins here I got at the dollar store. So you don't have to travel very far to find sequins. So I did take the adhesive backing off of my foam strips, and here I'm looking at this pile, and I'm like, you know what, that's too much. And that's kind of how I figure it. I have my little open window on one side, and I almost thought that this was too much, but this is how you create a shaker card. And I did put a nice helping of that dollar store shaker mix. Sometimes at the dollar store you can find some decent craft stuff. Just don't go overboard. Because sometimes you only need a little bit of sequins, and then you'll end up having a plethora. All right, so now I'm going to I ended up using my garden green ink pad, and I just wanted a very simple sentiment. So I ended up, this is how I do. I stamped one in blue and one in green, and then I looked at it and go, which one do I like? And I like the green better. So I fussy cut the green out, and I just put it flat on the card with a little bit of adhesive, and I put some, like, as if it didn't have enough sequins, I put some sequins around the adhesive back sequins, because they're special because they've got glue on them. You can't put the sequins with glue in a shaker card. It has to not have glue. Just putting that out there. I love this card. I think my sequin mix from the dollar store went really, really nicely, and it's fun. I don't know if you've ever made a shaker card before, and I have to say, it was really difficult taking that picture without having a light shining on it. All right, so this is a super simple alternative. So basically I have this tree card, and I'm cutting off the base. I just love the mountains here. I think they're beautiful. And I just cut 4 by 5 1/4. I'm using my dry adhesive here. I'm putting my, this is the front piece of my card. I think it's gorgeous. And then I use just a little extra 3/4 strip for my sentiment, and I actually used the Memento Tuxedo black ink. So it's black ink, and I think it spoke to me, this whole thing. I trimmed it down to suit my needs, and then I put dimensional adhesive behind. And this little trimmer Stampin' Up used to sell, and it was also sort of like a promotion. You can't buy this. So sorry that I showed it in the video, but it's really handy for me when I cut little strips of sentiment. So again, I'm taking the trees out of this card, and I'm going to adhere them behind the sentiment. So one says, I can finally use the big tree at full height in behind, but there are some pieces here that you have to sort of fussy cut out, or it looks a little funny. So that's what I did. And then I just adhered it all to the back of my sentiment piece. And once the dimensional adhesive was on there, yeah, and it worked out really nicely. Really simple card, but say if somebody was graduating, or if they were traveling, this would be kind of an awesome thing to give a person. I just, the artist just did so well with this, I have to say. All right, so with a little bit of sequins too, I put a couple on the bottom and one on the top, and that is the card. So there's one more card. It's really super simple as well, and you can use that technique with any kind of card that is using some strips of paper. And we're on the last few days of our designer series paper sale. So if you're curious about that, please head to my blog. I explain it all over the place. But as I've been cutting down these pages, I have little extras, and I was showing you from, where I got them from. So the tip of the card, or some of the bottom of the card, and they're all different sizes. So the nice thing is they coordinate together so beautifully. So I have 2 pieces of basic white cardstock here, and I am just going to adhere these little strips together. They look really good together. The colors are phenomenal, and I don't know what is going on with my tripod here. It's making my desk look askew, but at the end of this video, it goes back. So I don't know what was going on, whether it was traveling or whether the kitties somehow messed up with it. I don't know. Or maybe it was just on a pencil or something. It's so weird. Okay, anyway. So there's a ghost. There's a ghost in my tripod where it holds my camera. So I put adhesive on the back, and you can see what I did. I planned where those strips were going. There is no rhyme nor reason. Like, all of the strips are different sizes, and I did kind of go big, little, big, little, big, little. Or, 5 strips is plenty, and that's all I had left over anyway. So I always start with the middle piece like this. I try to use my desk as a guide because it has grid lines on it. Somebody asked where I got this black grid mat, and I got it online. It's called a Vantage cutting mat, and you can find it. It's a self-healing mat. You can Google it if you are wanting one. But it was a long time ago that I picked it up. It's for quilting, I believe. Anyway, here is my last little strip that I'm putting on. Then I folded the card bases, and I'm using the garden green ink, and I like this green, it's nice. And I have stamped on 3/4 inch strips here. I do cut them down, and then I'm going to mat them with that little strip of Granny Apple green here that I got. So there is a little, there is no measurement. I am just adhering down onto my little strip here. This is also another way to use all of your supplies. And if you don't have a Granny Apple green strip here, you could use a little bit of envelope. So I'm cutting down with the contraband guillotine trimmer. See, look at my desk is almost in frame again. So weird. I don't know. I got gremlins. But I wanted to list here that I do have some online classes for sale. If you all are interested, I would love to have you on board. There's a whole bunch of links that'll take you to my blog and my store and some of the classes that I'm having. There'll be more classes coming soon. I'm really trying hard to earn that incentive trip this year, so I would love to have your support. Thank you so much for those of you who have supported me. So in saying that, I will say the adventure begins. I hope to see you next time, and bye for now.